Let's explore how swiftly our meditation could alleviate illness in every community. This morning's lesson is drawn from Green Tada's Easy Dzogchen, inspired by Dzogchen Rinpoche's final meditation manual. It is comprised of 3 parts: chanting, mindfulness, and meditation. We're going to begin with chanting. But first, a bit of context. We're going to bring our experience of the physical into the path of love. Formally, this is known as either generation or creation stage, Hais Jagatantra, Tantra Mahamudra, Maha Yoga, or Tokal's leap over jealousy. The reason it is a leap over jealousy is that we are forsaking competitiveness. Now, it's tough for me because as someone with ADHD, friendly competition is a great way of stimulating the release of dopamine. It was pointed out to me way back in the 90s that you earn more good karma by rejoicing in someone's good fortune than competing against it. So this is what we're doing now. We're saying, hey, man, I want health. And then we are reasoning, well, if I want health, other people want health too. So let's wish great health for all beings everywhere, real or imagined. Just casting extending the sphere of a benevolent intention as far as possibility will allow. It has been said that the quickest way to generate good karma is through love, and that by maximizing the number of beings included in those loving wishes, we're maximizing the amount of good karma that we're earning, if there is such a thing as karma. But first, a heads up. Let's chant this together. Those who tread that path of Devata squander time and energy with contrivances of visualization, emotion, magic, and belief. So we'll stop right there. We'll pause right there. So this is the stuff that we are told to do by mainstream teachers. We're told that we need to visualize in detail and then concentrate upon that. That we need to generate great emotion, and that emotion needs to be very, very solid, and that will give us the magic that we need to move heaven and earth, to bend it to our will. And if that sounds a little bit like the path of the Sith, there's probably a good reason for that. Instead, together, let's continue our chanting. Upon this path of the Buddha, we simply recite these words in harmony with our breathing and allow our subconscious to do the heavy lifting. So we are wishing others well, but we're doing it in an uncontrived way. We're not using any force whatsoever, being totally relaxed. And now that we've set the stage, let's actually look at the actual chant itself. So as I mentioned previously, the greater the number of entities we wish good things for, the greater the amount of good karma we generate, if there is such a thing as good karma. May all bodies of all beings, well, that's pretty much all inclusive. But what do we want for them? Now. So now is important, not next week, because not tomorrow, not soon, now. There is no then, there is only now. There is no there is only here. Now enjoy, and this is important, enjoy is so important. Have you ever seen someone who is slender and pretty and well-appointed in their apparel, and they look absolutely miserable? So whatever good things we are wishing for people, we want them to enjoy it in the most wonderful way. So we're talking about beautiful health, and there's a reason for that. We have to motivational drives, an oxytocin-oriented drive and a much more primal dopamine-oriented drive. It has been said that our body lives in service to our genes, and our genes want to reproduce. And they want to reproduce with the people who are the healthiest. And here's the funny thing. What we view as radiant health, we feel is beautiful. And the same thing applies emotionally and intellectually. Someone's heart can be beautiful. Someone's mind can be beautiful. In fact, back in the 90s, perhaps, there was a movie called Beautiful Mind, or A Beautiful Mind. So beauty is our primal visceral way of recognizing an ideal mate purely from the point of view of genetics. And now we can get creative. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything blows, but not in the fun, tingly way. And that includes meditation teachers. So 90% traverse the path of Devadatta. 90% traverse the path of being a Sith. They're rigid, fearful, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. A great minority traverse the path of the Buddha, traverse the path of Qui-Gon Jinn, and are flexible, loving, laid-back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. Well, that's a whole lot of adjectives, so let's narrow it down. The Sith are rigid, and someone like Qui-Gon Jinn, a great Jedi, is flexible. Contrast, if you will, Qui-Gon Jinn with Mace Windu. They were both technically Jedi, but Mace Windu exemplified the rigidity symptomatic of the Jedi in decline. Around the world, there are people who think they're good, who want to be good, who are striving to be good, but they are more rigid than they are flexible. They are more fearful than they are loving. They are more controlling than they are laid back. And they don't know it, but they are already in decline. Let's narrow it even tighter. When we are rigid, we are more prone to interpret communication literally. And that can get us in a whole lot of trouble metaphysically. When we are on the path of the Buddha, we are flexible and are consequently more apt to interpret the Buddha's teachings figuratively. Humans tend to communicate with figurative language, and it makes perfect sense when you look at it through the lens of evolution and neuroscience. We evolved to think symbolically. First, our distant ancestors merely perceived. In time, they began recalling past perceptions and pondering potential future perceptions. And lo and behold, you had the armature, or the framework upon which the sheetrock of cognition was built. We're wired to think symbolically. That is why the remainder of this chant is figurative. Now, what I've done is, over the years, is I've reverse engineered metaphors back into similes. Because while it's understandable that some people can confuse a metaphoric statement with a literal statement, it takes a very special type of stupid to confuse a simile with a literal statement. So let's continue. May all bodies of all beings now enjoy the beautiful health seen in Buddhist art, depicting the blissful body of a real or imagined deva or yidam, an archetype of enlightenment such as green Tara. And so below we see an image of a rather beautiful entity that looks humanoid, comprised of green light. And it's not a coincidence that Buddhist art or Buddhist artists strive to depict their objects as beautiful. So what we're wishing is that, hey, see this beautiful entity? May everybody's enjoy the health, be as healthy as this entity is being represented as. Now, because we use the phrase real or imagined, it doesn't matter whether we believe this entity or not, or whether this entity exists or not, because we are using them as an object of comparison, that which gives us a simile. So let's chant this together one time. May whole bodies of all beings know enjoy the beautiful health seen in Buddhist art, depicting the blissful body of a real or imagined deva or yidam archetype of enlightenment such as green Tara. So you have gently accessed love, directed at physical well-being. Now we're going to plug into the powerhouse of mindfulness and meditation, beginning with mindfulness. The key, so I don't want to go into great detail now. I'm going to get in great detail in like 3 or 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. But right now, let's look at it this way. The quickest way to practice the mindfulness of perception is to silently and mentally recite the phrase, notice this, during our inhalation. And the easiest way to practice the meditation of release is to silently and mentally recite the verb relaxing during our exhalation. So let's do that right now for a few minutes. And this is what some people refer to as effortless dzogchen, meditation and protection. So as we breathe in, we could notice what it is we desire, and we do not resist that. When we notice what we dread, relaxation helps us to release that. And so we are already wired by evolution to desire things, and we are already wired by evolution to release. So this is the key to manifesting and protecting. No rituals or belief or incantations are required. So our job during the in-breath is not to think of something or imagine something or remember something. Our job is just to sit back and enjoy the ride. Not to mind blank, not to concentrate, but just to watch. To notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly, whatever comes up. When something positive comes up, we find ourselves releasing our resistance towards it. When something negative comes up, we find ourselves letting go of that as well. I look forward to chanting and meditating with you even more after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, my full-time job has been to study, practice, master, and reverse engineer the teachings and techniques of each sect of Buddhism. So you won't have to. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. The contemporary practice of Dzogchen includes bliss and letting go, awareness and letting go, as well as love and letting go. Green heroin is known in Sanskrit as oh no, what's the Sanskrit word? One moment, this is just mortifying. Memory loss. A key symptom of ADHD. Shamatara. So in Sanskrit known as Shamatara, in Tibetan known as Drol Zhang, and in English known as green heroin or sometimes green tana. This archetype with, we view this archetypes, the iconography of this archetype as a reminder that we already possess the neurological architecture required to easily and quickly master the Buddha's Eightfold Path. Our first chant is designed to exercise the neural pathways responsible for both empathy and enthusiasm. The chant is in two parts. The first part is rather elaborate, and we're setting it to a triplet or a quasi-triplet chant. Please join me. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. So the second half of the recitation is more concise and more figurative, and we're setting it to a bookend chant. Please chant with me for 3 repetitions. May I liberate all beings by relying on the 3 jewels. May I liberate all beings by relying on the 3 jewels. May I liberate all beings by relying on the 3 jewels. Let us take that love a step further with greater specificity by chanting the love that wishes, or exercising that love that wishes for the universal mastery of Buddha's Eightfold Path together. May all master letting go in love, as well as kind communication, conduct, and calmness. May all master the effortless effort of love-centered spontaneity, as well as mindfulness and meditation. So having completed our opening chants, let us get into the nitty and gritty of mindfulness. Every time we inhale, whether we mean to or not, whether we feel it or not, we're accessing our sympathetic nervous system, ensconced not within the 3-pound supercomputer between our ears, but instead within the thoracic region of our spinal cord. It evolved not to support either extreme of mind blanking or active concentration, but instead to merely notice, and to do so vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. We evolved to notice sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like. We evolved to notice emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. Well, if we're not supposed to actively concentrate upon our breath, then what are we going to do with our breath? We can treat our breath the way a piano student treats a metronome. When we notice our body on its own, breathing in, we could silently and mentally recite, perceiving this very turbulent play of mind. And when we notice our body exhaling, we could silently and mentally recite, relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature. Now remember, the key to the price of mindfulness is vulnerability. Perhaps that is why these archetypes of meditation are depicted as naked. Let's practice. Let us begin our contemplation of the iconography of this archetype of enlightened activity. Beginning with that, with bliss and letting go, which is known by many names, including Anu Yoga, Bindu Mahamudra, and Tikle's channels, winds, and drops. Together, let's chant. I and all living beings as extensive as space have heard her crowns of white lotus and moon seed. We have already mentioned that during mindfulness we can perceive. That which we perceive might be external or internal or physical or mental or pleasurable or painful. It may be interesting or boring, glorious or grotesque. What do we do with that which we notice? We meditate. But how does that work? Every time we exhale, whether we mean to or not, we are accessing our parasympathetic nervous system, which is ensconced also within the spinal cord, but this time in the lower lumbar region as well as the tippy top of the cervical region. It evolved for both physical relaxation as well as mental release. We can better understand this figuratively. Every time we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel less graspable, could begin to feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could be tantalizing to the eye, is intangible to the hand. Perhaps that is why paintings of this meditational archetype, the paintings often depict this meditational archetype as being comprised of light, translucent, and non-graspable. In an additional way to practice the perception of mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite sitting tall during our inhalation, reminding our body to generate a vertical traction between our tush and our head. An additional way to practice the release of meditation is to silently and mentally recite the verb relaxing during our exhalation. Let us continue with our contemplation of the iconography of the archetype together. Upon this lotus and moonseed from Tama rises the archetype green Tara. Let's make sure something real quick. That is 31. What happens if I change that to 36? Okay. Her body is comprised of green light. She has 2 hands and 1 face. Her right hand resting on her right knee is in the giving mudra. Her left hand is at her heart with a ring finger and thumb pressed together, holding the stem of the blue pala flower which blossoms at her left ear. The price of relying on both concentration and contemplation is that the blood pools at our amygdala, our aggressive and anxious amygdala, making us miserable. However, when we replace concentration with mindfulness and contemplation with meditation, the blood shifts from our amygdala to the anterior cingulate gyrus, just a few centimeters behind the forehead. This tissue functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy. Accessing it is the product not of concentrating or contemplating upon love. It is the byproduct of simply noticing, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly, and then relaxing physically as well as releasing mentally. Perhaps that is why the highest Dzogchen Lamas have insisted that the greatest love is spontaneous and uncontrived. Perhaps that is why this meditational archetype is depicted as beautiful. In this 3-syllable exercise, we're going to practice perceptions, mindfulness, by silently and mentally reciting "Notice this" during our inhalation. And we're going to practice meditation's release, again by silently and mentally reciting the verb relaxing during our exhalation. So relaxing is not an affirmation. It's not an adjective. It's something we're already wired to do, and we're simply embracing this process by using language to align our 3-pound supercomputer with the functioning of the sympathetic nervous system that is factory installed. Let us continue contemplating the iconography of this archetype. If you've just tuned in, good morning. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or their application, please type your question in great detail in the chat window. Please chant with me. She is peaceful, smiling and fully matured, adorned with all the precious garments and ornaments. Her left foot is tucked in, and her right foot is slightly extended. In preparation for the inevitability of death, on top of her head appears a Nirmanakaya form of Amitabha. We now switch from 3-syllable meditations down to a 1-syllable meditation. Consider, if you will, the active manner in which this female is sporting in a tantric union. This reminds us that spontaneity trumps contrivance. Now consider the passive way in which her partner seems to be enjoying the same tantric union. This reminds us that not all spontaneity is created equal, and that centered spontaneity, that is the product of mindfulness and meditation, trumps scattered spontaneity, that is the product of the tyranny of dread and desire. When our choices, utterances, and deeds flow from love's effortless effort of centered spontaneity, our life could feel as blissful as if it was a real or imagined Buddha's paradise. The easiest way to practice mindfulness's perception is to silently and mentally recite this demonstrative pronoun, this, during the inhalation. The easiest way to practice the release of meditation is to silently and mentally recite the 1-syllable verb ease during the exhalation. Ease here is a synonym of relax. Having climbed to contemplative cruising altitude, together as a team, let us meditate as profoundly as Qui-Gon Jinn on Naboo. The greatest offering we can make to our teacher is to simply apply his or her instructions of the conventional truth of awareness and the ultimate truth of release. Let's offer soloplex wisdom thoughts that lucid yet as not graspable as a void. Om Shama Tara Dharme Pati Sohum Soha. Whom let's offer heart wisdom, feeling sensual yet as non graspable as a void. Om Shama Tara Pashe Pati Sohum Soha. Tram let's offer navel wisdom, taste flavorful yet as non graspable as a void. Om Shama Tara Rase Pati Sohum Soha. Free let's offer thought wisdom, sounds resounding yet as non graspable as a void. Om Shama Tara Vini Pati Sohum Soha. All that's offer womb wisdom, sense fragrant yet as non graspable as a void. Om Shama Tara Gande Pati Sohum Soha. Om let's offer crown wisdom, sights appearing yet as non graspable as a void. Om Shama Tara Adarshe Pati Sohum Soha. Let us bring the experience of the four bases of mindfulness into the conventional path of love and letting go, where it is love that is emphasized. This is known by many names, including generation or creation stage, Tantra Mahamudra, Mahayoga, or Tokal's leap over jealousy. Those who tread that path of Deva taught to squander time and energy with contrivances of visualization, emotion, magic, and belief. Upon this path of the Buddha, we simply recite these words in harmony with our breathing and allow our subconscious to do the heavy lifting. May all minds of all beings know be as peacefully wise as the mind of a real or imagined Buddha symbolized by a tea clay when suitable seed or bija mantra. May all relationships of all May all relationships of all beings know be as joyfully loving as a real or imagined Buddha's communication symbolized by this ten-syllable mantra. May all bodies of all beings now enjoy the beautiful health seen in Buddhist taught, depicting the blissful body of a real or imagined Deva or Yetam and archetype of enlightenment such as Green Tata. May all circumstances or lots of all beings now have the good fortune or boon as a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, pure land or vati. Let us bring the experience of the four bases of mindfulness into the ultimate path of love and letting go, where it is letting go that is now emphasized, thereby helping us to leapfrog over what some would describe as pride, or self-grasping. Those who tread that path of Devadatta, caught in the thrall of rigidity, confuse metaphors for literal statements. Upon this path of the Buddha, we relax into flexibility, savoring the chants that explain the metaphors as similes. As we inhale, those circumstances or lots could appear quite vivid. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable or void as a real or imagined paradise or vati of light. As we inhale, our bodies or forms could feel quite sensual. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable or void as a real or imagined archetype or yetam of light. As we inhale, the interpersonal experience of communication or speech could sound quite resounding. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, it could feel as non-graspable of what is a real or imagined mantra of light. As we inhale, we could notice our mind's perceptions, emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings quite clearly. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as not graspable of what is a real or imagined bija seed syllable of light. Let's rest the mind. Let us view letting go. Ooh, that's what I wanted to fix. I forgot. Let me hit this real quick. 1, 2, 3. Copy. And move over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, thank you for your patience. Let us view letting go through a philosophical lens as we bring the illusion of the horizontal duality of us and them into the dance of impermanence and interdependence known as Madhyamaka's yoga of inconceivability. Together. All circumstances or lots could be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could absorb into this body or form. All forms or bodies could... let's fix that. There we go. All bodies or forms could be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could absorb into this communication or speech. All interpersonal speech could be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could absorb into this mind. All minds could be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could absorb into our vast empty void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn. which although tantalizing to the eye could be not graspable to the hand. Let us chant the Dharani explaining the mantra's meaning. Om Almachatara, swift and courageous, you drive away all fears with Tutare's meditation. Heroine fulfilling all aims with today's mindfulness, that's the fifth syllable, so how may it be so. For the remainder of this morning's live stream, we're going to bring the spontaneous play of mind into the path of awareness and letting go. This is known by many names, including Dzogchen's Great Completion Stage, Tantra, Sutra Mahamudra, Ati Yoga, or Trekcho's Slice Through the Tyranny of Dread and Desire. Here's how to make the most out of mantra meditation. Oh, excuse me. So, during our inhalation, we can silently and mentally recite this italicized statement. During our exhalation, we can physically relax as best we can while striving to chant these 10 syllables 4 times per breath. This refers to whatever we spontaneously experience on the moment, whether it is a sight, a sound, a scent, a sensation, a flavor, or the like, whether it is an emotion, an intention, a thought, a memory, or an imagining, whether it is external or internal, physical or mental, pleasurable or painful, interesting or boring, glorious or grotesque. Om Tare Du Dare Du Re Su Wa, 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 Om Tare Du Dare Du Re Su Wa. Om Tare Du Dare Du Re Su Wa, 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 Om Tare Du Dare Du Re Su Wa. Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa. Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa. Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa. Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa. Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa. Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa. Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa. Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa. Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Nuna Nuri Suwa. Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa. Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa. Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa. Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa. Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa. Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa. Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa, Om Tare Nare Nure Sowa. Welcome to this morning's live stream. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, please type your question in great detail in the chat window. The easiest way to practice the perception of mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation. The easiest way to practice the release of meditation is to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease, which functions as a synonym of relax during each exhalation. The key to getting the most out of our mantra meditation is twofold. During our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite this italicized sentence. This is whatever we notice during our in-breath, whether it is a sight, a sound, a sensation, a flavor, a scent, or the like, whether it is an emotion, an intention, a thought, a memory, or an imagining. As we exhale, we strive to physically relax as best we can while chanting this 10-syllable mantra 4 times per breath. Om da 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 wa Om da 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 wa Om da 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 wa Om da 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 wa Om da 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 wa Om da 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 wa Om da 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 wa Om da 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 wa Om 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 Tane Nane Nure Sawa 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 Om Nane 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 Nane Nure Sawa Da de do da de do de so wa. Da de do da de do de so wa. Da de do da de do de so wa. Da de do da de do de so wa. Da de do da de do de so wa. Da de do da de do de so wa. Da de do da de do de so wa. Da de do da de do de so wa. Da de do da de do de so wa. Da de do da de do de so wa. Da de do da de do de so wa. Da de do da de do de so wa. Da de do da de do de so wa. Da de do da de do de so wa. Da de do da de do de so wa. Da de do da de do de so wa. Welcome to the live stream. The key to really getting the most out of mantra meditation is this. During the inhalation, please silently and mentally recite this italicized statement. This refers to whatever we notice spontaneously, viscerally, non-conceptually, be it a sight, a sound, a sensation, a flavor, a scent, or the like, whether it is an emotion, an intention, a thought, a memory, or a figment of our imagination. During the exhalation, physically relax as best you can whilst striving to chant these 10 syllables 4 times per breath. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. The most efficient way. So as we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we can watch the play of mind. And as we silently and mentally recite the one syllable verb is during our exhalation, we could relax into mind's non-graspable nature. Om dare du dare du re so wa. 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 This is this morning's last meditation, so let's make it count. Together, let's chant. May all minds be as wise as Buddhas, may all speech be as loving as mantras. May all forms be as healthy as Tara, and may our lots be as fortunate as Pure Lands. May every meditation teacher truly understand the Buddha's teachings, and practice master as well as instruct them generously, lovingly, and wisely in the manner of centered spontaneity. May all meditation teachers spontaneously receive generous patrons, enthusiastic students, as well as devoted apprentices. And may many Dharma centers likewise be successfully planted, nurtured, and supported. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10.5 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.